Welcome to another episode of the Fanzone podcast, your home for all things Bolton Wanderers, up the Trotters, the Northwest's #1 podcast.
Not quite the way we were going to have that little layout there. I'm not too sure what happened. The beauty of course, live podcasting. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Fanzone podcast. Or should I say good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time you're listening to this. I have to try and remember to do that, actually. I'm trying to make a conscious effort to do so. To the point I actually wrote it on a whiteboard above me and I still forgot, but never mind. Good evening, everybody. Good evening to those of you who've joined us in the chat so far. Wonderful to have you with us as ever. Obviously, Wanderers 3-point podcast following yesterday's victory against Wimbledon down in the capital, 1-0. Pretty convincing 1-0 victory, which I'm sure we'll get into in due course. Tonight, of course, you can see enjoyed by myself, Ben, and Dan. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you?
Spot on, mate. Yeah, yourself?
Yeah, great, thank you. A little bit tired after the journey yesterday, but yeah, my little boy soon perked me up during the course of today, as you can imagine. Kept on my toes. Ben, what about yourself?
Yeah, good, mate. I'm absolutely knackered, but yeah, I've enough energy to talk Wanderers for an hour. Don't worry.
Yeah, good. Well, that's what we like to hear. Obviously, do continue to get your comments in the chat. I've seen that Mark's mentioned Dapple already, literally 2 minutes in. We will be bringing it up, of course, in due course. So, yeah, get ready for that. I reckon we get the show on the road. All I would say as well is Ben, he's going to be managing the chat this evening. He's going to be doing the chat, so bringing the comments to view for the fan focus, of course. So do continue to get them in the chat, and of course he'll bring them on the screen, and we'll delve into them in due course. But yeah, without further ado, post-match reactions. Just to address the comment by Mark Weaver in the chat, of course, that may not necessarily be directed at me, Dan, or Ben, but yeah, we are not that Bolton Wanderers podcast for any in the know stuff. Feel free, of course, to chat between yourselves if you want to kind of delve into any rumours, of course, that as we edge into the end of the transfer window tomorrow. I think midnight tomorrow, if I remember rightly. But yeah, we're honest, not that one.
I would be very surprised, seeing as though they only signed him in the summer for $2 million, didn't they? So yeah, I'd be surprised if they were trying to flog him with an option, with a buy option, unless it was to recoup the money back. But I don't think that's very common, to be honest.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just going to say I agree. I do enjoy speculation though, so if anyone wants to whip some up in the chat, I'm all for that.
We're all for it in terms of discussion, but yeah, we're not going to start any rumour mills or anything like that. Just for the people listening back on audio, Mark did ask any in the know if we have any kind of option on to buy kind of up to beyond the summer. That was kind of his question for those listening back on audio. Right, 1-0 yesterday, Wimbledon away, 2 victories against them this season. I'll start with Ben. Initial thoughts on, that yesterday, really. Be good to get your opinions on that, Ben.
Yeah, proper game of 2 hours on it, really. First half was the best half of football we've played for maybe 2 months, I reckon. And yeah, the new signings were like the heart of it, really. Corey Blackett-Taylor was on fire first 15 minutes, even before his goal, which was just a great counter attack. I think it was like a couple of touches straight through to McAtee, first touch to Blackett-Taylor, one touch to set himself, and a great finish. Like from the goalkeeper to the goal in about 10 seconds. It was great. Just showed all what the signings are about. Pace on the counter attack, good feet from both of them. But yeah, first half, I mean, it got to half time and we really should have been at the very, very least 2-0 up. If we're being optimistic, probably 3 or 4-0 up, to be honest. But it wasn't to be. And second half was a bit more of a grind. As I say, they had probably had more shots than teams have had against us recently, but not really any massive chances. So it was a little bit nervy, but I don't think we really got away with anything, to be honest. It was one of them where out of our wins recently, it's definitely one of the better performances. Especially in that first half. I think second half, both new signings Bapter and Blackett-Taylor kind of tied a bit, didn't they? And I thought Gale did okay when he came on, but kind of broke up. I thought, obviously, we'll get on to the man of the match, but one man in the midfield was outstanding and has been great over the past 3 games, I thought. So, but I'm sure we'll get on to him soon. I'm happy. And as Brandon mentioned, they had 15 shots, none on target. We had 16 and 6 on target. It's good to be that way around. Quite often it's us having 20 shots and only a couple on target and being pretty wasteful with our shooting. But even though we were pretty wasteful still yesterday, it got the job done. Yeah,
absolutely. To be honest with you, we're going to ask Dan for his 2 penneth, but I'm going to end on Dan. I'm going to give you mine first of all, because obviously I went to London yesterday to watch Wanderers, and I don't know whether it was kind of different on telly or whatever else, but when I was at the game, I wasn't really worried against conceding, if I'm honest with you. I know obviously game of 2 halves and all that type of stuff, but I think that there was an element of us trying to kind of manage the game a little bit as well, and try and do exactly what we did in the first half and kind of counter on them and catch them, which obviously someone's mentioned already. The goal yesterday was a cracker really on the counter attack. And I think that may have been an element of our kind of psyche in that second half. But I mean, I wasn't concerned at all, to be honest with you. I think an overall pretty impressive performance. The defence, again, I mean, obviously people are discussing George Johnson and left side of a 3/ was he kind of a fullback yesterday, depending on kind of in and out of possession and whatnot. But let's be truthful, it's another clean sheet, isn't it? And I think it's a pretty impressive kind of performance once again from the defence. And I'm all for 1-0s, to be honest with you, as much as kind of 4-0s, really, as silly as that might sound, because it's always a good sign, I think, when you win 1-0, especially away from home. But I mean, from the stands, like I said, I was pretty relaxed. I don't know whether it'd be because I had a skinful on the way down, to be honest with you. I was probably possibly relaxed because of that. But I didn't really think that we were going to concede yesterday, and we didn't. So there we are. What about you, Dan? What about from where you were sat? How did it look?
Yeah, just to echo really what Ben said about it being a game of 2 halves, but I don't mean that in a negative sense. I feel like that first half performance is something we've been crying out for a while. And the 2 new lads who came in just completely energised us. We were fast. It were really quick in transition. You can tell that when they get up to speed, they're going to be good players for us. And like you said, we should have been a few goals up probably at half time, and that were the only frustration in the game for me, that we didn't kill them off when we had them on the ropes, basically. And I think second half, obviously they're the home team. They're going to come out and probably not give you as much opportunities as you did in the first half. And I think that was just all about us showing resilience. I know they had a lot of shots. I think there was one where I might have got a little bit concerned that it might have been going in. It looked like it either hit Bonham and then he fell on it or whatever. But apart from that, it was just about us defending our box really well, which we did. Clearances galore. Everyone grafting. I know Johnston got a bit of mixed reactions, and he has over probably the Christmas period as well. I thought for him slotting in as a left back yesterday, you're not going to see any kind of marauding runs. You know that with John Orr, and his game isn't based on passing. He's going to keep it simple. And I thought actually his defensive contributions were really good at times. He got a few good blocks in, like a centre half would. But obviously, Max Conway, he really did need a rest. He's been looking jaded for a while. And given a kind of patchy away form this season, it's a solid 1-0 win away from home. And like I said, the only frustration I had with the game was in the first half where we just should have put them to the sword, really, and got a couple of goals to make it a lot more comfortable. But a load of plus points. I thought that, like I said, the new lads played really well. They did the part. The lads in the midfield, Erahon, as people have said, he was just absolutely fantastic. And I think he's going to be someone that benefits from a run in the team. It's been a bit stop-start for him. Some good performances. I don't think anybody was overly bad. I know Ossie Tutu, he did give the ball away a few times, but he stuck at it. And I thought defensively, he was all right. He shouldn't... He'll know himself, won't he, that he shouldn't be trying to dribble his way out when he's getting pressured like that. But 1-0 away from home at this time of year with new signings hopefully on the way, what more can you ask for, really? Like, you know, we keep him winning, we keep it in touch with top two, which is what we need to do. Yeah,
100%. And I think alluding to what you've just said about the defending of the box and the way in which we did that yesterday, Dan, that's going to be great practice going into the game against Lincoln, because I think that's certainly one of the strong points. Very surprised that our good friend Jake Tong isn't in the chat at all just yet. I had a conversation with him earlier on today. The League One Live usually goes out on a Sunday evening, for those who don't know, but they're not doing it tonight. They're doing it tomorrow, obviously, with being transfer deadline day. So I was fully expecting Jake to be present tonight, and he may very well turn up at some point this evening because he's getting himself a little bit giddy because his Lincoln team are sat in second place. Possibly too giddy. Possibly too giddy. Only time will tell. But yeah, the chat is absolutely bouncing tonight and massively appreciate it. Obviously, your contribution, we want to see that. We want to be able to, or Ben wants to be able to bring the comments on screen, of course, for you all, because it does help not only us in terms of the evening's pod, but also the old algorithm for YouTube and get more and more Bolton fans kind of in tune with what we're doing on a Sunday evening. So do keep that going. And of course, we'll be putting some in for the fan focus later on as well. So plenty of choices for man of the match. Of course, we've touched upon that already. Another great opportunity for you all to throw your opinions in there as well. Please do that because, yeah, let's discuss man of the match from yesterday's victory in the capital. So yeah, as I said, let us know your man of the matches. I'll start with same order as previous, please, if you don't mind, gents. I've got a feeling who I think Ben's going to choose, but yeah, go on, Ben.
Yeah, no messing about. It's Erahon in midfield. He was absolutely everywhere. Yesterday, controlled the game from pretty much the first minute, doing what we thought we'd lack with Sheehan out the team. But yeah, he steps up the last 3 games in particular, and yeah, really made his stake in the team. I feel like this season has been split up into Simons was probably our best midfielder for the first couple of months, and then Sheehan completely took over and was one of our best players probably since about November. And then with his injury, and I was a little bit worried about where the midfield control was going to be because Simons has been off it for a couple of months. But yeah, Erahon, who showed glimpses of it in the first half of the season, but maybe not as consistent as we thought he could be. Yeah, has been fantastic this past week. And yeah, yesterday was his best game, I think, in a Bolton shirt. And yeah, good timing going into his old stomping ground in a couple of weeks' time. He's fantastic. A couple of other players. I mean, yeah, the chat is overwhelmingly Erahon. I don't think I've seen anyone else. Shout out anyone else, to be honest. But as I said before, both the new signings did what I thought they'd be good at, getting at teams, going past the fullback, being dangerous, especially in behind. I thought Dolby had another good game. He just does all the basics really well, doesn't he? Holds the ball up. wrestles with centre halves. I would like him to get a couple of chances more on games, because it feels like, again, he plays really well, but he doesn't get maybe the chances served up to him like he would like. But I thought McAtee was. I saw a comment on Twitter and it said, to sum up McAtee today, I can't tell if he's had a really good game or a really poor one. And I kind of agree. It's funny because obviously he's a great ball for the goal, but he went 1-1 with the keeper and it was a really poor finish. Yeah. He had the other one, didn't he, when Corey laid it across the box, and I feel like maybe he could have jumped at it and slid it in, but didn't opt for it. So it's one of them where obviously he's contributed to our winning goal. He's put himself about like he always does, but you still kind of left feeling you want a bit more from him. But he did okay. I mean, we've got someone waiting in the wings, haven't we, that we signed on Friday night that will probably be after his position. So there'll be competition in that position. But defense was good again. Someone mentioned before, actually, after the goals that Cardiff, Stevenage and Exeter all conceded yesterday, we now have the best defence in the league in terms of goals conceded. Shout out to defence. And also, as Ange pointed out yesterday, the stat woman in the chat, it's the first time we've got 3 clean sheets in a row away from home in 3 years. So it was that last season where we kept all the clean sheets with Trafford and Bradley in the defence. So top effort. But Erahon was absolutely quality. He controlled the game.
When you were talking about Erahon or Erahon, however you'd like to pronounce it,
still don't really know.
No, not really, but we'll have to ask him. When you were saying that, my mind was going, why do we think he played so well? Was it because he played against a poor team, which, let's be truthful, with all due respect to Wimbledon, they're not the best side, and they don't have the best players at their disposal. So naturally, you'd hope that he would dominate that midfield against them. Or was there another kind of contributing factor? So I'm got a question for you, Ben. And I'm glad that people have mentioned it in the chat, actually, because it kind of backs my thought process up. But how much of an effect do you think Erahon playing alongside Dempsey had for Erahon's benefit? Because I think obviously his competitive nature, Dempsey, of course, I'm referring to, surely would help a ball playing midfielder like that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. Dempsey's nature is to kind of run around and get in people's faces, and he doesn't do too much of like coming deep and trying to get on the ball as much. So we kind of left Ethan on his own at the base of midfield, which is where Sheehan shines, really, doesn't he? When he's on the pitch, he wants the ball all the time. So I guess maybe when they're both playing together, Erahon doesn't get the ball as much. Maybe same with Simons. I feel like they're similar-ish players. Whereas, with Dempsey can kind of roam about and go further forward, while Erahon controls the ball kind of on his own in that midfield. I know what you mean. It was a good duo yesterday. I mean,
it was a good duo.
I mentioned before how I don't know. I'm not 100% sure that Dempsey's a starter for us, but I think there's definitely games for him. And yesterday he worked really well. And I think
prime example,
probably, Ethan's probably his best partner, to be honest.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting. Dan, what about your man of the match, mate?
As the statman says, Big Heath. I felt like you used the word dominant before, and I feel like that's exactly what he was. He's a big lad, but he's really good on the ball as well. Won his second balls. I think I saw a stat about his defensive contributions. They were absolutely ridiculous, including like an interception that nearly led to a goal, where he intercepted it and McAtee went through and for whatever reason decided to pass it back to keeper. But I just thought he was really good, and we're going to see more of that hopefully as he plays, because as well as being a big guy, like I said, technically he looks really accomplished as well. And he's deceptively good at like turning and dribbling on the ball for a big lad.
Yeah.
I think Dempsey, we've not really seen him play that deep this season. He's always played a little bit further forward, and which as Simon started well, he has kind of petered off a little bit. And I think in Sheehan's absence, there's an opportunity for Dempsey there, because I think he offers more in terms of mobility, getting around the pitch, than Simons does. And while Sheehan's still out, I don't think you're gonna be looking at changing Erahon from there. I just thought he just dictated everything, and a really, really solid performance. I think McAtee, I completely get what you mean when you say you can't tell if he's had a good or a bad game. I think he does a lot of things well. one thing that frustrates me massively with McAtee, you never ever knock his whip rate, and we all know that. But his shot selection at times baffles me because
it's like
he's
he gets
played.
a bit too excited, isn't it?
It's like, well, yeah, but I mean, who am I to tell him? Obviously, but he plays like you see him kind of trying to sort of caress the ball, and you're thinking, just get your foot through it sometimes instead of trying to place it all the time. And it's frustrating.
Or if you're going to place it, put it in the corner.
Yeah. Don't just pass it back to him. But at the end of the day, I want to. If he's going to get in them positions and miss, I'd rather him do that than not get in the positions at all.
Yeah.
So if he can carry that on, regardless of what happens in the transfer window, he'll be fine for us. Yeah, Dempsey were good. I thought Tull was really good. We're talking in that second half in particular about just defending your box. Farino as well, just getting your head on things and taking the pressure off. There weren't too many times where they got a ball in the box and it didn't properly get cleared away. Like it wasn't bouncing around and causing that kind of panic. So I think kudos to them for that. Dalby again, completely selfless performance, just putting himself about for the team. I thought his hold-up play were really good. It just didn't quite come off for him in terms of chances, like you said, Ben. But he's in a rich vein of form in terms of his performances. And I think it's only a matter of time before he starts scoring on a regular basis for me. I think he's really come on. And obviously, he's been playing catch-up from pre-season, hasn't he, with getting that bad injury. And I feel like now he's just kind of getting the run of games and form where he's actually able to show what he's about. So it's exciting times, especially with the wingers. I thought they really did play the part. Obviously, Blackett-Taylor, he's just pace and power in it, and he's going to be such a nuisance for defenders. And I thought, to be fair, he could have maybe had another goal. One he squared across to, was it Winata or McAtee? I can't remember, but I felt like he could have maybe taken it. He could have maybe taken it on, but I think that would be a little harsh to criticise him on that. But a few solid choices, but Big Heath for me. I think we've talked about so many times us not winning second balls and losing midfield battles in this run over Christmas. Well, he just did that for us. So for that reason alone, I think he allowed the forward players to excel in the way that he played. So Big Heath is my man of the match.
Yeah, I think it's. Listen, you lads have said everything that needs to be said, really, to be honest, about his performance yesterday. So I think it is going to be a clean sweep in terms of the man of match for the Fanzone pod, which is, I think, the first time for a long time, I think, from the top of my head anyway. Clean sweep on the old man of the match. However, I do want to obviously mention a couple of things. John McAtee deserves a great amount of credit for his performance yesterday. I think he tried to get in and amongst Dalby, kind of read his play, basically play like he ended the last game at home in that same vein, if that makes sense. The previous game at home, in the first half, he was poor. He was kind of running around like a headless chicken, but he ended the game well, and he started that game really well yesterday, kind of very meant to go on. So that was good to see. The ball was fantastic, obviously, for the goal. But Blackett-Taylor as well deserves a lot of credit because I think he started the game really well. Obviously, I think played pretty well for the best part of an hour, but kind of fizzled out a little bit. But he's bear in mind he's hardly trained with us, so to kind of build them relationships on the pitch the way in which he did yesterday on several occasions is very kind of reassuring for the future, but also allows you to understand when you've got a better player a high quality player, at your disposal. And I think he'll be a great foil as well for Thierry Gale in terms of a different type of winger. We'll come up against certain sides. I've said it for a while. I think Thierry Gale is very much a player for home games, as silly as that might sound. It's kind of more of a luxury winger. But yeah, Blackett-Taylor will offer that kind of option. Obviously for the away games against teams that are going to try and stick it on us a little bit, because obviously he's so quick and he's so strong, and so that's kind of reassuring me. So I can see why they've gone down that route. There was a question earlier on from Mark asking whether or not Sheehan gets back in the side. The answer to that, Mark, is categorically yes. I'll answer for Dan and Ben on that one, to be honest. And I think most people seem to agree with that as well. But yeah, Fanzone man of the match, of course, is Ethan Arahan. Cracking performance. And I will say as well, actually, like I said, when you're in the stands, you don't often you see things slightly different than you do from people watching it at home. I think most people would agree with that. But when I was watching that yesterday, I was watching it thinking Arahan's playing well, and then you go on social media and obviously speak to you guys afterwards, and you're all like, Arahan played well. So I was just like, yeah, what my eyes are telling me is the truth, essentially, which was good. So yeah. Anyway, Gaffer's notable. He'll break down yesterday's game against Wimbledon, and yeah, let you know what his kind of thoughts were after the game.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Gaffer's Notebook with the Statman, and today we're of course going to review the 1-0 win against Wimbledon this weekend. A quality 3 points if you ask me, especially considering it's away from home and you have not exactly been unbelievable away from home this season, have you? But that was a good win and it was a good performance, as we'll come on to a little bit later. But the first thing I want to touch on is the performances of the two debutants for yourselves, Mr. Abner and Blackett Taylor. I thought they were both very, very good, especially Blackett Taylor, because, I mean, obviously he scored. But I was quite impressed by Abner as well, which may surprise you a tad. Let's go into his stats, shall we? He completed 2 dribbles and he only attempted 2 dribbles. So that is an 100% success rate. It's pretty good. He made 3 passes into the final third and he made 4 ball recoveries too. But I'll be honest, most of my analysis of Abner has come from the eye test, because I just quite like the way he moves and the way he dribbles and just the way he has the ball. It's always very close to his feet, which is of course very good, but it almost makes him more suited to a number 10 position. I'd quite like to see him there at some point this season, probably not for a bit, but I can see it happening is what I'm saying, because he just keeps it very close and you can see him wanting the link-up play, but maybe it wasn't always quite there. But it was a good performance, and he did come close to a couple unreal moments where you do just want to go on, son, but no, not quite. Blackett Taylor was much more that, to be fair. He only completed 1 dribble himself with a 33% success rate, so in other words, he attempted 3 and 1 of them came off. But I quite like how he played, because he sort of stood on the touchline, didn't he? His boots were white by the end of the game with the paint, and he just got the ball and he just ran straight away. He'd go, get the ball, gone, at your fullback, and he'd go outside, he'd go inside. He was prepared to go either way, and that is what you need from your winger. At least one of them has got to be prepared to go either way. And I was a big fan of what, I'll be fair, I've not watched him too much before, but I thought it was a very, very good performance on his debut as well. And obviously he scored, and he had 2 shots from an incredibly similar position that were both blocked, so who knows what could have happened if they weren't. But yeah, again, I just think it was quite a good performance. So you've got to play on your hands there. But that you have got 3 left wingers now, so that's a bit of a sticky situation. Luckily, that's not my problem. But anyway, let's go in to the rest of the game, shall we? The main thing I want to focus on is how close Mr. Dolby and McAtee played, because obviously McAtee was the number 10 attack midfielder, whatever you want to call it, the man in the pocket, and Dolby led the line. Now, should be able to see on the screen here, they are playing right next to each other across the 90 minutes. These are the average positions courtesy of SofaScore. Other statistical apps are available. Unless you want to sponsor us, give us a bell. But no, in all seriousness though, it's very good when your number 10 and striker can play that close together. Now, it doesn't always work, but when it does, it works brilliantly. Because in possession, especially when you're playing against a low block, they can rotate and the striker can drop off and the attacking midfielder can run past, or they can just play as the centre forward for a little bit. And that confuses the opposition, because it's sort of, oh, who's that? Is he my man? I don't know. I'm marking this guy. Oh, where's he gone? He's behind me. They have to keep talking. And when they're playing a low block, it's not always the easiest thing, because you have to keep checking your shoulders and left, right. So that's one good thing from in possession. And another thing is if they're playing dead close, they can combine with each other. One of them can bring it down and the other one can touch it, play it out wide. Cross comes into the box. You know what I mean? I was just going to say score a goal then, but that didn't happen. But it can happen is the point. And it's also good out of possession because it sets you up well for a high press. Because how most teams tend to press is they wait for a goalkeeper to pass it to either centre-back. And if, say, they pass it to the left centre-back, the striker will go, and then the attacking midfielder will sit on the number 6. So the striker will try to cut the passing lane, and if it doesn't, usually goes to the full-back, and then they'll try to play it inside. But if the attacking midfielder is tight on the number 6, that pass obviously cannot happen. So that was a very good thing. And if you're sitting off a bit in a 4-4-2, mid-block/low block, as you do when you play a 4-2-3-1 in possession, as we've covered multiple times on this series, that also works very well. Because they're right next to each other, they can go straight away, they can swap either sides. It just works well. Big fan. A couple other things to say. 9 of your 16 shots were inside the box, so that is much better than some of the games we've covered already this season. So that is a very positive sign. You seem to be less afraid of waiting a bit more in the final third and getting into the box, which is good. And then the last thing to say, Mr. Ethan Arahon. Well played, son. I'm sure you've just won man of the match, and if you've not, I'll be having words. But no, in all seriousness, he was quality. He made the most tackles of anyone on the pitch with 7. He won the most ground duels of anyone on the pitch with 13. He made 7 passes into the final third, and he made 9 ball recoveries. Now that is a quality performance. For me, I'd still quite like him to be playing next to Simons, especially while Sheehan is out. But he was quality, and he dictated the play. Kind of played as a sole number 6, even though Dempsey was next to him because he got forward a lot more. So, yeah, very impressive performance. And he's going into his own now, isn't he? So you've got to say, fair play. And it was just a good performance. And, I mean, the Statman has been quite negative on many different occasions this season, but he's not right now. So let's applaud the performance, and I'll let you enjoy the rest of the show. I'm sure I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.
Well, that was pleasant, wasn't it?
It was.
It was, yeah. Second time in a week, he's been pretty happy. It's nice.
Yeah, and like we've touched upon already before, Statman give his breakdown. We obviously shouldn't be much of a surprised by that, should we? Because it was an all-round pretty decent performance. I'm wondering how much positivity that is going to spread throughout the team leading into the Barnsley game next weekend, obviously, because that would be probably a performance that was a reflection of the preparation leading into that game yesterday, in terms, essentially, what Statman's been saying. Are you expecting it to have a positive impact, Dan, going into Barnsley next week, which, of course, as Shuey's touched upon already, it's a massive game?
It is a massive game, but it's one that I think we should be looking forward to, given the wins that we've chalked up recently, and especially if we can build on that first half and have a little bit more of that, I think we'll cause them problems. And I'm fingers crossed that Keeler Dunn goes on deadline day tomorrow, because I do really rate him for Barnsley. He's a top player. So, yeah, why let's impose ourselves on him. We're in good form. We're picking points up. So, yeah. If you can't get positivity from the results that we've had recently, I don't think you're going to get it at all. So, yeah, bring them on.
Absolutely. Next segment is 3 Up, 3 Down. But before we do that, a friend of the show, James Berry, which of course is the first team head chef at Wanderers. I was having a little chat with him earlier on today, and we were discussing obviously Dapo Lions transfer to Blackburn Rovers, which has been mentioned already in the chat tonight, which doesn't really come as much as a surprise. But I've got a question for you two. I want one player. All right, just one player. The rest of them can come from the chat. All right, but I want you to name one player that has either played for Blackburn in the past, who went to play for Bolton, or played for Bolton and then went on to play for Blackburn. Just one.
Kevin Davis.
There, you got one straight away. That's fine. Ben, what about you? You've got 10 seconds.
I mean, you stole mine. I
can give you another one.
Nope, you only wear one. Dan, the rest of them in the chat. Just said that. Without Googling everybody at home as well. You're not allowed to Google, because that is excellent. Do you want to read them out, Ben? Because obviously you've been a pathetic effort of trying to name one, so read them out.
Juve, yeah, mate. The chat has gone absolutely mad for this. Per Franson, Yuri Djorkaeff, Paul Warhurst, Nathan Blake, Jason McAteer, Colin Hendry, Juve again, Per Franson. Yeah, loads to be fair. I mean, obviously all before my time because,
Wasn't the Per Franson one the one that ended up with Toddy leaving because it was done behind his back?
Yeah,
broke my heart. Top player.
Around 1999 kind of time, I think it was.
Yes, What a manager! What a player!
We I actually said one to James earlier on, Matt Jansen, which none of you have said in the chat so far. Matt Jansen obviously was a fantastic young talent at Blackburn, who had a horrific motorbike accident. I think on holiday in Italy, if I remember rightly. And then never the kind of the same after that accident. And of course, we signed him, I think, in probably like 2003 kind of time, 4, I think I'm inclined to say. But yeah, that was a Stephen Warnock, Brandon, fantastic shout. We didn't come up with that one before. I'll be passing all these on to James as well. There's 1 or 2 in here that we didn't get when we were trying to go through that earlier on, so that's pretty good. So as predicted, we do have a visitor in tonight's chat. Of course, Jake Tong has decided to show his face. Good evening, Jake. Good evening to you, sir.
Yeah, he's been
welcome.
Feels like he's been very confident in socials, but he texted me after we beat Burton the other night saying, "Can you just stop winning, please?" So I think he's getting a bit worried, even though they're still 6 points ahead. I think there's he's with a pesky team that keep winning, don't they, out of nowhere? So I already told him when we go and beat him at their place in a couple of weeks, we'll be level on points. And
yes, so what he's saying here is you don't scare me, as you know, Cole. What he's alluding to in that sense is that he keeps obviously messaging me and asking me about kind of who was signing and whether this is coming in and blah 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 blah, and then which money we're going to spend, blah 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 blah. So I think he's lying to himself when he says that, to be honest, because I get lots of messages on a kind of weekly basis from him. So yeah, there is a little bit of panic there, despite the huge amount of confidence Dan's just come out with the Mario Cosa Dewberry, of course. Obviously, that's really good.
And Jason Lowe.
Keith Andrews, dearie me.
Yeah, Keith Andrews, you make me feel sick now. Yeah. Like, can we stop this? I wish I hadn't have asked. Now you're bringing him up. So 3 up, 3 down. Let's go into some positives and possibly some negatives from yesterday. At this point, I do think Dan is Googling all of these answers now because they're coming through in pretty quick succession. So, let's move on from that one. Let's start with some negatives, if you can possibly think of any negatives from yesterday. I'll start with you, Dan, if you don't mind. Doesn't have to be football related, doesn't even have to be Bolton Wanderers related, but just a negative from yesterday for you.
Negative for me. Right, okay. So it's not football related, and it's it's rather sad, as a 41-year-old man to admit. But I did watch the Royal Rumble last night, the good old WWE, and it was absolute crap.
Disappointing.
Don't know what I was expecting, to be honest, but disappointment. A waste of 4 hours of my life, you could say. But that's the down. It was rubbish. They used to be good. What's going on?
Very good. Yeah.
It's not the same. Maybe it's age that, and it's looking back with rose tinted glasses. But
no, it's not, Dan. It's the world we live in, and how pathetic it is. I nearly said something else. Then let's move on, because we used to be able to act and have more fun than we do now without upsetting everybody, didn't we? So use your imaginations. Ben, what about you?
What a load of rubbish, by the way, WWE. My negative is that we just couldn't finish our dinner, really. For once, we actually scored one of our first chances, but then missed. Yeah, a couple of. McAtee's and Apps in particular were couple of sitters, and yeah, I just wanted. It was a performance we've been down out for ages. For like a dominant first half, and we should have really gone in. Should have put the game outside in the first half really, and had a relaxing afternoon. And actually, I'm going to do 2 in 1 because it's the second time, second kind of round of fixtures where it feels like everyone else in the top sort of 8 won as well. So obviously we picked up the 3 points, but we're not really made any ground on the top 2 or kind of got away.
Cardiff lost. Cardiff drew.
Yeah, true. All right, one. Okay, Cardiff drew, but apart from that, everyone else won.
I'm just glad it's not a pasty-related issue that you're having.
I want some talking about football, mate. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. My down is, I mean, listen, it's inevitable given that you're in the capital. But like, I paid £8 for a pint of Asari yesterday, which was absolutely horrendous. Wasn't at Wimbledon's ground. I have to stress that.
Asahi in the ground, that's decent, but
yeah, it wasn't in Wimbledon's ground, but regardless, it was still £8.
To be fair, though, Cole, you could have paid £8 for a much worse pint. At least you had a good beer there.
Yeah, there is
you know what I mean?
I remember paying. I think it was at Doncaster. I paid. I think about £6 for a plastic bottle of Carling, which was like
that's
cold.
And that's right.
It was New Year's Day, and I was like, I don't even want to drink anyway. Why have I even got this? I think I had half of it and thought, like, what's the point?
Horrible.
Yeah.
SDTG 1969 has put in the chat. I'm going to stick up for you here, Dan.
I'll stick up for myself. Thank you, though.
Yeah, no, I want to stick up for you before you stick up for yourself. Don't get a grown man watching wrestling. It's fake. Listen, I don't watch wrestling anymore. For the reasons we discussed. No, but all I'll say is people watch Coronation Street in Emmerdale and all that, and that's all fake. So it's exactly the same thing. It's an entertainment industry, whether you like it or not. Dan, what's your reason? Why are you going to stick up for yourself then, mate?
I was going to say literally the same thing about soaps and stuff like that. It's just something to watch. That's all it is, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's not that deep.
It's not that deep indeed. Right, positives. Go for it, Dan. What about you, pal?
The new blood coming in. I think, like I said, I mentioned earlier, I think it really rejuvenated us, and we've been crying out for a bit of freshness, especially over this period where we've been absolutely games left, right, and centre. I find it exciting. It's kind of renewed my optimism in the team, especially alongside the results that we've had, which have been great. And obviously, deadline day tomorrow. Can we get 2 or 3? Well, 2 in, I think, is the general consensus that we're aiming for. So if that happens, to freshen up the quality that we've already got, it just real optimism, to be honest. And the freshness of the team, it'd be my up, because I do think we've been crying out for it for a little while.
Go on, Ben. Did you manage to get yourself a jalapeno pasta yesterday?
No, I was in. To be fair, I had a bloody lovely lunch. I had a slow pulled beef brisket grilled cheese sandwich, which was very nice from a place in town. But anyway, that's not my up. I don't know why you've tried to make me talk about food again.
Yeah.
Is we finally scored in the first half again. For the first time in 9 games, we scored in the first half. Go on, read it out.
Brandon is channel member. That's why I'm bringing this up, because he's a channel member and is allowed to dish out these insults without his comments getting deleted. Cole looks like giant hairstyle. Cheers, mate. Appreciate it. Anyway, sorry, Ben. Go on.
Anyway, yeah, first time in 9 games we scored at home. Not at home, in the first half. And that goal, by the way, was in the 45th plus first minute, Sheehan at home to Rotherham. So it was barely in the first half anyway. Wow. First time we scored inside 45 minutes, it's Wickham away, which was, a long time ago now. But yeah, and then hitting the ground running, as you said, Blackett Taylor, and a lovely stat from Matthew Rushton here, saying Corey Blackett Taylor, the first Bolton player to score on his full league debut since Sadie Janko versus Fulham in 2015. I mean, that is a blast from the past, mate. Yeah,
Sadie Janko, wow.
Sadie Janko, well known from United, wasn't he?
I remember that. He went to Celtic, didn't he?
He looked great on his debut, and then did absolutely nothing after it. Yeah, he went to Celtic.
Proper quick, weren't he, if I remember rightly?
Rapid, yeah. It was a good goal as well. He lashed it in top corner, didn't he? From at the right hand side, yeah. Which I thought was quite funny as well, because considering in that 11 years, we've twice lined up with a squad full of debutants, haven't we? Under the new ownership. Obviously, first time round when we signed like about 12 players on deadline day, all free agents, and then again in League Two. And yeah, obviously first game all drew blanks. So yeah, well done, Corey.
That's a mental stat, that really.
It is.
When you think how much upheaval we've gone through these last 10 years or whatever.
I wonder how many debutants we've had since then. I mean,
that'd be really interesting.
Well over 100.
It's got to be something.
There's a stats Twitter page out there that could probably find that information out if you that way inclined.
Yeah, probably is. Yeah, if anyone can find that out, that'd be great. But yeah, well done, Corey. But yeah, scored in the first half finally. Just a shame he didn't score again. But yeah, it did the job.
My positive, Leslie alluded to it earlier on when she put in the chat. Love the picture you posted of you and the Womble call. You had a right big smile on your face. I did. That was my positive from yesterday, meeting one of the Wombles in the stands. What a great mascot that is.
Yeah, it's good.
That was it. That's about as good as it got, really. And there's also, I put Bolton News posted some of the pictures out earlier on that I managed to notice that I was in one of their pictures walking down the stands after the game yesterday, and I wasn't looking happy at all. I was pretty pleased with the result, but as I put in that tweet, I'll smile at the end of the season when we've gone up. I think people were getting a little bit giddy yesterday, to be honest with you.
I think they were a face of a man who was second guessing his decision to get one of them buzz balls. That was the thing that I thought.
I'll tell you what, they were on the way home then, Dan. They were from the way home because I got a bit sick of drinking lager. Listen, I don't ever really get the train away from home anymore because obviously I'm older with responsibilities and stuff, and I often drive to games and don't drink a lot. But yesterday, I fancied a bit of a trip on the train, and it was wonderful. And as are them buzz balls, highly recommended, 14% or whatever they are. Delightful.
Yeah, calling it to the buzz ball is not something I expected to see.
There we are.
In January still, in 2026.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that.
Yeah,
that doesn't matter. Right, where are we at? We've digressed massively here, haven't we? We have. Player profile. This is Dan's bit. Looking forward to this. Sorry, I have to laugh at that. Again, listen, he's a channel member, so he's allowed to bring these comments. He says, for those on audio, he's saying, I just don't get it. Fully grown man watching the Wombles.
On fire tonight, Brandon.
Yeah, doing well, ain't he? He's on fire. Right, Dan, over to you, pal.
Yeah, nice one. So we're going to have a look at, it's the player profile, which is where we take a bit of a closer look into the stats and just open up a bit of discussion about particular players from that week. So I was going to go for Ethan Erehon, but I figured with him overwhelmingly securing himself the man of the match, I feel like we've pretty much waxed lyrical enough about him already, to be quite honest. So I've gone for one that was suggested by yourself, Colin. So I will give credit where it's due, and it's George Johnston. Now, obviously, over this kind of Christmas period, he has had his critics, very mixed opinions if you go on social media regarding him. And also yesterday against AFC Wimbledon, he did fill in at left back, which is not something I can remember him doing too many times in recent memory. So just to go through a few of his statistics against AFC Wimbledon, he ended the game, and this, by the way, this is all on FOTMob, so this is what I was using to gather the stats. He got a 7.6 rating, which when you compare it to Ethan Erehon, who we all overwhelmingly said was the man of the match, who ended up with an 8.2. I think that's a really good score for him. I think also during the course of the game, you did notice a few moaning and groaning about his performance at left back. You're not going to get Max Conway there. You're going to get a centre half playing at left back trying to do a job for the team, and I think that showed in his statistics. So one accurate cross from 3 that he made. he did actually make the most completed passes in the match with 55, which I was surprised at. And granted, they will probably have all been back to like Firmino or just into midfield, but still, the stat is there. He tried 12 long passes, 4 were successful. I think we know it's not his greatest strong point going for the old long pass, but he made 8 defensive contributions, 2 of which were tackles, 1 block, 4 clearances, 4 headed clearances, 1 interception. He won 100% of his ground duels, 63% of his aerial duels won, which I think you can appreciate. He's obviously not the tallest, and he tends to use his aggression and positioning to try and win headers than obviously his height. I think that's a given. I feel like I just wanted to look back on his last 6 games or so just to see how he'd compared against AFC Wimbledon. And there has been a bit of a resurgence post Peterborough where he was hammered for going up for that header and getting nowhere near it, which I think you can criticise him on that. But at the same time, the guy's got to run and jump on him. And he's not the tallest defender anyway. So, fair enough if you want to criticise him for that. But he got a 5.8 in that game, which is obviously well below what you'd expect for a centre-half to get. However, on the back of that, went to Wigan and ended up with a score of 7.7, and he was solid. Stevenage again, which was a horrible game that we went away to. We got another 7.7. And obviously, this is when we switched to a back 3, which I do feel like he is more naturally comfortable in that outside wide left position. 7.7 again at Leyton Orient. So we pretty much identical performances in terms of doing really well. Burton was an 8, and Wimbledon, as we say, 7.6. So since that Peterborough game, where he weren't the only one that had a bit of a stinker, he's really turned it round, and whether that's the tweak, going to the back 3 and then just rebuilding his confidence, I don't know. But over the course of a season, John O's played 29 games for us, and he's averaging 7.37, which is really solid for a centre-back, wherever you are in the league, to be fair, especially in the upper echelons. But he's actually got an XG of 2.42, which is against a goal return of 0. Now, I just wonder if that was them 2 misses in the same chance. There must be another one somewhere where he might have done a little bit better. His distributions, people have said is not his strong point, but he has made 86.4% successful passes, which doesn't sound too bad for a centre-half. He's actually created 2 big chances. Can't remember what they were, if I'm being completely honest with you. He's been part of 10 clean sheets in 29 games, which obviously we've known. We've had a solid defence pretty much all season, barring a few iffy results. I thought these stats were interesting because I in the context of other players, I don't really know how relevant these are. But he has made 100 recoveries and 244 clearances, which just seem like an absurdly high amount of clearances. But like I said, I've not compared that against other defenders from the league, so I'm not overly sure how that actually does compare. But yeah, that's pretty much the stats for John O. So obviously over to you lads in the chat to see what your opinions are.
Yeah, so as you were speaking then, I was trying to kind of think as to why he does come under quite a lot of scrutiny. And nobody in the chat mentioned it up until right at the very end when Brandon said what he said. For those, again, listening on audio, he's put, and Brandon's getting a right load of loving tonight, isn't he, on this? But probably because
a few weeks now.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably because he's an old boy from the new Everett era. So fans will always say he's not good enough. So I had a quick recce on that before Brandon said that, and he's one of only 7 remaining players from the Ian Everett era. And we've all seen during this January transfer window, especially, that there's been a bit of a clear out, hasn't there, of the Everett lot. So the fact that he's still here probably is testament to him and his performances, in which Dan's just alluded to, I think. However, I do feel, to caveat that slightly, I feel that the defence is... They're probably looking at the defence that it's just kind of like patching it up and letting it crack on because it's been so good this season, and let them just get on with it. And obviously in the summer, if we were to go up, that will be where a lot of the work needs to be done. So I think you probably see less of Jono if we were to go up next season, or you might see the end of him, because I'm not so sure whether he's good enough to make that step up. But certainly in League One, I think he's an excellent centre half who's very versatile and does a lot of good stuff. But been a great signing, regardless of how well he's playing at the moment or not. Over to you, Ben.
Yeah, I agree. Good point by Brandon, because I mean, it does seem like the odd time we drop points, we kind of point back to, we're still not clear enough of out from last time. And I mean, this season, the only two that have consistently started from the old lot are Johnston and Sheehan. I mean, I guess Farino, but I don't think he really played enough under Everett for him to call him like part of the Everett era anyway, really. He's probably started already more games under Schumacher. So yeah, it's pretty much just Sheehan and Toll. So yeah, it's been a massive clear out, and them two are the ones that have survived and thrived, really. So yeah, I'm happy with Jono. I think, like everyone, I think someone mentioned it further up. Yeah, Dan, he said he has 9 good games out of 10, and the one, as you mentioned, was probably the Peterborough game, wasn't it? He kind of gets. I think, like you say, he's shorter than your average centre half, and his mistakes maybe look a bit more like glaring, because you can point to obvious things saying, "Oh, he's not big enough," or he's not imposing enough. But yeah, no, I think he's been great this season.
Sorry to interrupt. I think that's part of the reason why what Dan said before. He probably works better in a 3 or a 5 compared to 4.
Yeah, for that reason. I agree. I think all 3 centre halves work best in a 3, to be honest. They were all signed for that reason, though, weren't they? If you think about it, they were. So I mean, I remember at the start of the season, me thinking again, and Brandon's mentioned it again. Sorry, we're gonna stop bringing up.
Give it a rest, Brandon. Flipping heck.
He said, "We've never invested in defence. We've only spent 500k in 4 years." I mean, you compare that to what we spent in the number 10 position alone. It's a bit mad. But yeah, I did go into this season thinking, why the hell have we not invested in defence that conceded 70 odd goals last year? But yeah, they've massively impressed. Obviously, the midfield in front of them has helped them out. I think having a stabilised midfield has helped them. But yeah, I think they've all been pretty good, and Johnston has been a good part of that. I think yesterday is one of them. I think Richard Taylor's been slagged quite a bit when jumping in at left back, but he's not a left back, and Johnston isn't either. I think yesterday he kind of shone. I think he did all right, but I won't want him there left back full time. And
no,
I think it did kind of show if something happens to Conway. We'd maybe a tiny bit in trouble, or we'd lose quite a lot of attacking threat from that left back. But hopefully Conway's at his rest and he's all right now.
Maybe that's the position that I don't know whether or not any of you have listened to Shuey's interview after the game yesterday. He kind of alludes to the fact that we were hoping to bring one in, maybe 2 in a different position. I think his words were. Yeah. Maybe that's the area that they're looking at, possibly.
Possibly. I just wonder sometimes, and don't get me wrong, we on the pod have definitely been guilty of this when we kind of hark back to this group of players who have the leftovers from the Everett era. And I think sometimes we make them a little bit of an easy target. And I mean that as fans in general, because if you think about it, we've questioned the bottle and the resilience and stuff like that a million times. But up until his injury, we're saying Josh Sheehan has been absolutely unbelievable for us. And when you look at the defence this season, even though it's been Toll and Johnston, the real shaky position in that defence has been goalkeeper that's let us down. It's not been the centre halves.
It's quite remarkable, really, that we've got the best defence in the league. Considering I'm still not 100% convinced, because he's barely faced a shot. Like I've not been confident we've got a top keeper all season.
No, I'm pretty relaxed with Bonham, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
like I'm seeing enough from him to be reassured at this level.
I'm not scared, but he's basically not saved a shot yet, really, and he's not had to. So I'm not saying I'm buzzing or I'm scared about it. I just don't know yet, because I've basically not seen him.
That's kind of the issue that we had with the previous keepers, though, wasn't it? We weren't giving loads away, but then we were saying, well, they've not really had shots to save, but the shots that they then should have saved went in. So obviously Ben's not had a chance to see that yet, have you? To be fair, because he's not really needed to make them yet.
Yeah,
but we'll see. I personally think he's done great so far, and I'm confident. And I think more importantly, the defence looks confident with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, yeah,
definitely. Okay, no, good segment. Thank you very much, Dan. Appreciate that, pal. That you've lost your player profile virginity there, haven't you? So
I have, yeah.
Appreciate that. Solid work. Fanzone Van Vogus, over to you, Ben.
Cheers. Yeah, fan focus time. I mean, we are about to clock over the hour mark, so probably not going to dwell on this for too long. But yeah, who cares? We'll go on for as long as we want, really. Yeah, good contribution as always. It's been a busy chat tonight, so I've started some stuff. We'll start off with the aforementioned Dapo. Obviously signed on a undisclosed fee, which I think is interesting because he's basically not barely played a minute this season for San Paolo. I'll be interested to see what that fee is. I imagine it can't be that much on an 18-month contract. Is there any part of you that thought is like saw him in the Blackburn shirt a little bit gutted? Not because it's Blackburn, but a bit gutted that it meant that we couldn't maybe have a last-minute stab at him tomorrow, or do you not think it'd be possible?
We were never getting a stab at him from Bundesliga to League One.
No.
So no. I'm more annoyed because it's Blackburn, to be honest.
Yeah, fair enough.
Simple as that.
I think he's had his time with us, and he were great for us, and we were fantastic for him. And it were obviously he came at a time where there were a lot of upheaval in the club, and he got fans on the edge of the seat again. And he was. Don't get me wrong, he was a joy to watch when he was on it. He was absolutely phenomenal. But it's in the past, isn't it? I think as good as he has been for us. If he's not playing in Germany, he wants a crack at the Championship, and I feel like he deserves a chance in Championship. To be fair, he's probably too good for League One if he's playing. He's played in Bundesliga. Obviously, you don't want to see him necessarily going for Blackburn, but then he might be playing in League One next season. We might be playing in Championship, so you never know.
Yeah, I'm in agreement, to be honest. I think if the stars align and maybe we went up last season and we were in kind of Blackburn's position now, it might have a stab at it. But to be honest, I'm not too disheartened. I mean,
there will be clamouring from if that does happen, Dan, what you've just said, then, and we go up and they go down, there will be clamourings for us to go for him, I bet.
Yeah. And he's only on an 18-month contract as well, so if that does happen, he'll have a year left in the summer and probably won't have to pay that much for him. But I'm in agreement, to be honest. I'm not too disheartened. Kind of thought it was going to happen, but cheers, Mark. Back onto someone else who was left recently. We mentioned Aaron Molly quite a bit recently, but it's the first pod since his departure was confirmed. And David has just mentioned that we didn't miss him one bit. And I don't know about you guys, I'm totally in agreement. And just on his deal, I mean, it's undisclosed like they all are, but the rumour was 750 grand rising up to $1 million. What do you think about that? Happy?
We've had the pants down, if I'm being completely honest. As much as I think he's a wonderfully gifted technical footballer, he has stagnated massively for us. Yep. Either he's reached his ceiling and that's him, or he just needs to go and play more games. And I think there may be a little bit of both about that. I think as a League One player, he definitely does deserve to play more games. However, he wasn't going to get in our team. I feel like he doesn't give you enough of the nasty, horrible stuff that you need to do. And I know he's a good passer of the ball, and you could argue Sheehan's fantastic as well. But what Sheehan has that he doesn't have, that is Sheehan is so like press resistant, and Morley tends to like have the turning circle of a bus. So I think I've liked him. He's given us some good moments. I've enjoyed watching him knock the ball around. But for 750 grand rising, we'd be absolute mugs not to have sold him for what we have in the team now. And especially if we can reinvest in the areas that we really need to kick on
and
with.
Especially because we spent 85 grand on him reportedly as well.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mental.
So,
yeah.
I mean, so that takes our midfield turnover this season really to about £2 million for Thomason and Morley, who Thomason has a big fan of, and he's doing well at Wrexham. Yes, we brought 2 million in for them too, and kept Sheehan, who I think was the best out of the lot, probably, and brought in Irajon, who has been fantastic as of late, and Simons for just a smidge less than £1 million. So £1 million profit on them. Brought in 2 younger guys who I think at the minute are proving their worth. So yeah, fantastic business.
And to add to that as well, we've got Ruben Rodriguez on a free, and he can play as an 8 as well. Don't forget, he's not a 10, not just a 10. So if necessary, he can drop in a bit deeper as well, which is good. Just to add as well, before I forget, just on the Dapo deal to Blackburn, which we didn't mention. Not that I heard anyway. If we did, I might have been reading something. If you were speaking about it, my apologies. But obviously, there's that particular deal that we did to send him to FC Pauly had a few kind of bolt-ons. Excuse me. Obviously, part of that deal. So Mark Isles has said on Twitter earlier on today that he's working on trying to understand exactly what that would mean for us in terms of money. I think if I remember rightly, it was supposedly reported to be quite a what's the word?
Sell-on clause,
clauses and whatnot. Yeah, as far as percentage is concerned for us. So them type of deals at this level often can mean that money might go back into the kitty to bring in somebody, and maybe they were hoping on that or thinking that might happen, because obviously clubs are all connected, aren't they, in that respect? So that's pretty kind of exciting, really, if I'm honest. Sorry, we didn't mention that, did we? So I just thought I'd bring it up.
No, good point. Might be a bit of extra money that we've made. I mean, we're banging profit this season, aren't we? After, I mean, both windows, I think we're going to end in a profit. So it'd be nice to spend that at some point, but maybe not, considering what we spent our big money on recently. There's Dan in the know. Summer 20% sell on, he says. So I mean, for me. I've got no idea what
it is. Well, 20% of nothing.
Yeah. I mean,
to be fair,
I've got no
I
idea how much to pay for him.
Paying big money. Can you?
No, I don't think.
I just can't. But you know.
Yeah, I don't know. It might just be a nominal fee, to be honest.
The thing is with that though, he's a type of player that could end up keeping him up, and if it might be worth a gamble for him, to bring him in. So that's possibly what they've done, in terms of investing money. So they're a weird ownership group, aren't they? As we all know, the chicken people.
Yeah.
So
yeah. But that's enough about Dapo and Morley. Radix has chatted about McAtee. Does anyone else still think McAtee could end up at Barnsley tomorrow? I mean, it was a deadline day last time, wasn't it? When he was, all but gone, I feel like. And then something cropped up. I can't remember if it was on our end or Barnsley's end, which meant he didn't go in the end. And ended up starting our first game, didn't he? Barnsley are notoriously not very big spenders, but they've got Davies Keeler Dunn and Reyes Cleary both heavily rumoured out, which will bring him probably 10 million plus, if so.
I think if it was sell either one of them two, Ben, I think we could possibly see a situation where they might come in for McAtee, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because they'd have the money to do it, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think Mark Isles summed it up really well on that, the both, when he said if they were to lose them, that it'd be kind of a fan appeasement signing. Because obviously they're going to be gutted they're losing the two best players, but McAtee is someone who's held in very high regard at Barnsley, so it's one of them that could get the fans back on side. So if everything falls into place for them in terms of selling the top players, then I think he very well could be. But I'd like to keep him. But again, money talks. Like you say, we've ended up making a profit, but you could argue our squad's stronger. So if that's going to be the case and we can reinvest, albeit maybe in summer at this point, then who knows?
Yeah, I agree. I would like to keep him, especially this late on in the window, because any money that you get is kind of only worth as much as if you can spend it right now on getting somebody better.
Yeah. And it's not the day to do it, is it? On deadline day,
No, it's not. No.
Yeah,
you're right. If £10 million lands in their account and they fancy, you're right, at signing someone that the fans like, and they put in a bit of a silly offer, then it would be silly to refuse it, I think, and go and reinvest. Because as you say, we've made a profit this year. should have a bit of money in the kitty. Or
I
don't know.
Do you think they're covering the backsides a little bit by bringing in Ruben Rodriguez just in case that was to happen?
Perhaps. Yeah, maybe.
Knowing full well that Apter can play also as a 10 as well.
Yeah, I think
possibly,
so.
man.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, Shuey said it. I mean, he said it last week, didn't he, after the Burton game, that ideally he doesn't want to lose anyone. And then Morley went the day after.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah.
But I think it's just such a no-brainer, I think, for Rodriguez to come in on the back of Morley going as well, when obviously you're a player down, but to bring him in for nothing, when he's got that proven experience, then of course how he absolutely did us at Wembley. It's just a no-brainer decision. It's smart business. So, full props to Fergal and Jimmy Dickinson, because I think when you're getting that kind of money in and replacing them with somebody who's established in this division and higher, crack on. It's good business, that.
Yeah. I mean, to me, Ruben, Apter and Blackett Taylor are all signings in the mould of what they said before is good players in kind of bad positions, bad like scenarios where probably 12, 18 months ago we wouldn't have had a chance at Rodriguez when he just went up. Probably they would have asked for a bit of money. Definitely wouldn't have got him on a free. Blackett Taylor was signed for up to nearly £1 million in the January when Derby went up, so they wouldn't have let him go for much less than that. And Rob Apter again was signed for $2 million in the summer. So to get him effectively for free for 6 months, all really good business.
And it's what as fans we've been crying out for. We've wanted players who've been there and done it or played at a higher level, and that's what we're getting.
We need it not only for performance reasons, but we need it because
mentality. It's what
but be able to manage us a lot as well. The expectation,
expectant fan base.
That's one of the biggest things.
Yeah.
For me, anyway, like you need players who can handle it.
Yeah, they've been there. They know what it's about. Yeah.
Well, they play for clubs who've got similar expectations, so they can handle the pressure, can't they? If you get signing players from lower leagues, then they crumble, as we've seen on so many occasions.
Yeah, you're right. And as much as we said, I agree that we improved the team this season, even before the signings this week. We're a very young team, and there's a hell of a lack of experience in the leagues above, considering that's what I feel like they said they were going to focus on in the summer. I feel like kind of ended up with a pretty young team with not a huge amount of experience in like the top end of League One and the Championship. But yeah, we've rectified that over the last week. So yeah, I'm happy. I mean, that's all come from John McAtee. So yeah, cheers, Radix. But yeah, that is we're an hour and 12 in. So I think that's enough for Fan Focus this week. But yeah, thanks everyone. Yeah. Lots to talk about tonight.
Yeah, cheers for
14 people in the chat, by the way. Crazy.
Yeah. Love that.
Excellent stuff. Really good. Really appreciate your contributions. A couple of quick points just on David and Radix' initial comments I've starred in the chat. David has asked me specifically, am I doing the Barnsley game with Andy? I presume you mean on Red All Over with Barnsley. I'm not, unfortunately. I've got a very, very busy week with work and I'm going to be late getting back home, so I won't be doing. But I think Ben Timbo is doing it. I think, if I remember rightly, is that right, gents?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be jumping on with Andy on Red All Over, which will be good. And Radix has asked about Mr. Fergal coming on to the podcast. Now, obviously, I mentioned that a few weeks ago. Obviously, I've shelved contacting him for obvious reasons because they're in the midst of a January transfer window, and the last thing he needs is this big fat-headed fella mithering him. So obviously what we're hoping to do, the conversation was that he would come on to the podcast after the January transfer window, by way in which summarising, the window itself in terms of the reasoning behind X, Y, and Z and the hopes and expectations, I guess, for the players that we've signed and whatever else, elaborations and whatnot, which is pretty exciting stuff. So hopefully he'll come on. I'm going to guess maybe mid to end of Feb, if I'm honest. If I was to stick my neck out on the line, but we'll wait and see anyway. And yeah, keep you all posted on that. You what? Sorry,
I just said if you were to stick your neck out, and you have now.
Well, I have now. Yeah. I mean, I think it'll it'll come out. I'm pretty confident of that because it was a pretty solid conversation that we both had. So yeah, good stuff. So that's your lot for tonight. 1 hour and 15 minutes in. Me, Dan, and Ben will be getting Timbored for being over an hour. But never mind. We're here to deliver a service, and hopefully we've done that. It's been an absolute pleasure to spend an hour and 15 with yourself, Ben, and yourself, Dan. Good evening.
Thank you, mate. Likewise.
Thank you.
Have a lovely week. Enjoy a whole week without the Wanderers until Saturday and a nice break, and hopefully that'll lead to a fresh performance. Obviously, I think we know that Shuey's given them a little bit longer of a break, which is definitely warranted, I think, given the January that they've just had. But yeah, absolute pleasure to spend the evening with you all. Have a lovely week. Make sure when you go to the Reebok on Saturday and we're not 1-0 up after 15 minutes, you don't start booing. But other than that, have a good one and we'll see you soon.
Take care.
You whites.